Good evening, everyone. It's Margie, the Bootleg Knitter, and it has been forever since I've done a video. And I'm going to do a boot sock tutorial. And I'm saying this sweater, it's really big on me, but I made it a couple years ago. I didn't make it for me. I made it in a large size, but I wear it because it's so nice and cozy. It's one of the Clan Aaron sweaters from clanaaron.com. I forget which one it is because I changed this too. I didn't like the way this looked on the sweater, so I changed it. So whatever. Anyway, welcome to my downstairs. Yes, that is a reindeer skin. No, we did not kill a reindeer. We had a relative bring it back from some country he went to. And I told him, buy a nice textile. They have beautiful textiles. And he brings back a reindeer skin. So whatever. Some people are strange. And like I said, I'm hanging out here. I got my little buddy over here. My Ridgie. This is Casey. There we go. And I got Annie over there. So there's another dog in the house somewhere. I think he's upstairs. They're all exhausted because the grandkids and the grand dog were here for a couple days. So they are just like totally exhausted. So what are we doing today? We are doing boot socks. So this is my boot sock. It's called a boot sock because you wear boots with it. It's nice and high. This actually comes to just below my knee. But you can do it short, you can do it long, you can do it however you want because it's your sock. Now this is it says it's DK weight yarn, but you know how like there's not an industry standard. So it says it's DK, but I have worsted weights that are this thick. I also have DKs that are this thick and thinner. So I did a wrap on a pencil very carefully, and it ends up being like 14, 15 wraps on a 1 inch on a pencil, which does fall within the DK range. Again, it's a range. So some look fatter, some look skinnier. But that's the size yarn I'm using. So if you want to do this, I would use an equivalent size yarn where it's like 14 to 15 wraps on a pencil. And size 4 knitting needles, you're going to need 5 of them eventually. In the beginning, you're only going to need, my dog's being whiny. In the beginning, you only need 4. These are, I think these are a German company. I can't actually read what it says. But I really like them. They're plastic and they're really, they give a little bit, so they're easy on your hands. And I like that the tips are nice and thin, but they're not pointy. It grabs the yarn nice without splitting the yarn. I got these 2 years ago at a fiber festival. But again, I can't remember the name of them because I don't have the box. I just kind of keep all my DPNs in a bag and I just grab them as I need them. But I like them because, again, they're easy to read as well. It says right there, for US. Very easy to read. Not like these metal ones that you have to put through your gauge to find out what gauge they are. These are also 4s. I don't like metal ones very much because the yarn tends to slip. Some people love metal needles. I prefer either bamboo or these. The yarn doesn't slip off easy and they're good. So again, we're doing boot socks. When I first did these, I kind of did a measurement of my calf doing a crochet chain. And I ended up getting 50 of a chain, but that was relaxed. Like I did the chain and just laid it around and I hit 50. I want it a little snugger because it does have a lot of give. So I ended up casting on 44 stitches and it fits perfect. And my calves are not huge. They're not skinny. They're not huge. They're just a normal size calf. Like I can wear high boots, no problem. I know some people have a little bit wider calf. You can't wear the high boots because you can't zip them. So if you're going to do that, then you want to go maybe cast on 50. Because again, you're going to have a lot of stretch because of the rib that you're going to do with these. Make sure it is divisible evenly by 2 because you are going to do a knit 1 purl 1 rib throughout. So you want to cast on an even number. So again, I'm going to cast on 44. An easy trick to see how much yarn you need for your long tail cast on is take your yarn and wrap it around 40 times around your needle. So we think that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44. So this will be enough for the cast on, but I always add about, 10 inches extra just to make sure I have enough. So again, I'm doing the long tail cast on. So while I'm casting on my 44 stitches, here we go. This yarn, it's merino. It is superwash. I dyed it myself. I love the way the colors pooled. So what I did is, at first I dyed it in walnut, natural dye. Then I added a tiny bit of red to the dye, actually just food color dye, and a little vinegar. So I did that. And then I twisted the skein really, really tight. And I just kind of added some dark green dye. And that's how it came out. So in the skein, this is kind of what it looks like in the skein. And this is what it looks like knit. And I really love, to me, it kind of looks like mountains. So it's like the earth and the trees and the mountains. That's kind of the feeling I'm getting from this, which is very appropriate, I think, for boot socks if you're wearing with your hiking boots. Okay. So I'm going to cast on 44. 1, 2, whoops. Hang on, sorry about that. That's 2, 3, 4, 5. Now you don't want to be really tight on your cast on. You want to make sure you have a little bit of space between each one, because that's actually how wide each stitch is going to be. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just going to hang out here while we cast on 6. You double check 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I got 11 because I was talking. So here we go. I'm at up to 30. So again, I'm going up to 44. Okay, there we go. And I had about a foot left over, about 12 inches left over. A lot of times I will then cut this to about here just so it's not hanging out in the way. So again, I have 44 stitches casted on. I'm going to double check. I always double check. Don't you hate when you count like 3 times and you get 3 different answers? So make sure nobody's talking to you. TV's down, no earbuds in, because you want to focus. So we're going to double check and make sure that we have 44 stitches on here. So I'm going to go count my 44. You go count your 44, okay? Okay. I got 44. Did you get 44, hopefully? If not, make an adjustment. Okay, now that you have your 44, you want to divide them evenly between 3 double pointed needles. Now you can actually cast on to each one. So like what I sometimes do is, this will be 15 on one, 14 on one, 15 on one, and that'll give you 44 stitches. Okay, so 15, 14, 15 will be your division on your DPMs. So sometimes I'll cast on 15, and then I just take my other needle like this, and I just kind of let this hang down, and then I begin my second needle cast on. Now again, we're pretending this only has 15 on it. I pull it real tight, and then I'll count my next group of stitches. So that way I don't have to separate after the fact. But sometimes I just go like this, and then I'll just move 15 over. So I'm going to go 1, 6, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14. Okay, I got my 15. The middle needle is going to have 14, and then the last needle is going to have 15. So I'm going to pull them from the side where we ended up our cast on. So I'm going to pull over 15. Fourteen, 15. So now we got 15, 14, 15. Because again, 15 plus 15 plus 15 is 45, but I need 44, so one of them has to have one less. Now here's the really important part, is to make sure if you're doing DPNs that you don't twist your stitches. This is important no matter what method you're using, whether it's 2 at a time, which you can do this 2 at a time on the magic circle. I do not like the magic circle. I tend not to have single sock syndrome, as they call it, where you finish one sock and then you don't finish the second sock. I do have a mitten that I haven't done the second one yet, just because it's really tedious. And I love the pattern, but they're on like size 1 needles, and I just haven't finished the second mitten yet. But it's here. I know I have to do it. I'm not going to have second mitten syndrome either. So single sock syndrome, again, is where you don't do the second sock. All right, so what I'm going to do is, see how long this is? I have to put a pair of scissors here. I'm going to cut this just so I don't accidentally grab the wrong part. I'm going to cut this about half. This is my tail. Boop. So there we go. So now I have I made sure nothing is twisted. And what I do is the needle that I'm going to knit on, I hold, it's on top and on top. Okay, so on top and on top. Can you see that? It's on top and on top. So this is the needle right here that I'm going to knit onto. Now, a lot of people are very intimidated by DPNs. It's only hard when you're first getting started. Other than that, you're just knitting on one needle and then just going to the next needle, knitting on one needle, going to the next needle. But again, it is a little harder in the beginning. I find sometimes if I have a sweater on, so I kind of poke my needle that I'm knitting off of. This is the one it's coming off of. I'm poking it into my sweater so that way it doesn't move. Or you could just stick it on your couch or whatever, but I'm literally poking it into my sweater. And I actually, hang on, I have to pull my sleeves up, or the needles get caught into my sleeves. So now I have, again, nothing's twisted around. I'm literally just going to begin my knit purl. Now, if you see, I knit, I guess it's called continental, where you hold the yarn in your left hand. Okay. So I'm just going to, it also helps if you hold the tail. Little tricks, hold the tail, stick it in your sweater if you want. That way it doesn't move. I'm going to knit my first stitch. And again, that's the first one, so make sure I pull that really tight. And now I'm going to purl my next stitch. There we go. And then I'm going to knit and purl all the way around. Now this is my first row. So I'm going to knit and purl just like normal on my first row. I'm going to change it up a little bit on my second row and after that, and I'll show you why. But for my base chain, I'm going to knit and purl normally. Okay, so my first needle is done. Now I'm going to come to my second needle. Again, I'm going to take this second needle. So right now it's underneath. I'm going to put it on the top. So I end it with a knit because again, it's an odd number on that one. So you're going to end with a knit. And I'm going to go to a purl. Again, pull it nice and tight. Always pull that tight. Whenever you're going from one needle to the next, you want it nice and tight. Otherwise you can get like a gap in your knitting and it doesn't look nice. You'll have this almost like a little hole in your knitting. Okay, so I'm just doing my knit purl. Knit purl on a continental is so much faster than if you throw. I think it's continental. I forget what it's called. But I hold the yarn in my left hand. I learned how to crochet first, so for me, holding the yarn in my left hand is more natural. So again, I'm going to take my needles and put them on the top. Only takes a second. Now again, I ended on a knit. Go to a purl, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl, knit. Da, 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 da. There we go. Oh, happy Valentine's Day, everybody. And I ended on a purl because it's 44 stitches. So I have my first round done. All right, from now on, when I do, not all the time, but when I do a lot of things, I like to twist my purl stitch. So what does that mean? So what I do is I knit normal. I'm going from the front, from here up for my knit stitch. Now when I go to do my purl stitch, normally you would go this way, like that. I'm going to twist my purl stitch. So I'm going into the, like here, I should be going in away from me to the front. I'm going to go close to me to the front. So that's in the, I guess that's in the back of the stitch, right? I'm purling into the back of the stitch. And that creates a twist on the purl side. And what that does is it makes your purl stitch tighter. And I like that. Let me show you why. Hang on, get on there. Remember I said about splitting the yarn? I just split the yarn. All right. So let me put this down for a minute. So when you do it that way, if you see, all you see are your knit stitches. And it makes a nice tight rib. It makes your rib much tighter because your purl stitches are twisted. And you also do not see them as much. You basically only see the knit stitches. The top of my foot is also ribbed, and I also twisted that because again, I want a snug fit on this. If you want a little looser fit, don't twist your stitches on your purl stitches. Just do a normal purl stitch, okay? And it'll give you more relaxed fit. It depends on what fit you want. These are your socks. I like a little snugger fit. I don't want it falling down, especially since they're high. So again, that's why I did the I twist that stitch. The bottom is not. The bottom is just stockinette. The top of the foot is knit purl. That way, when you're looking at the sock, it goes all the way down. There we go. So we are going to continue in this fashion. In this fashion. I sound so formal. I am not formal either. We're going to continue in this fashion until your top of your sock is your desired length. Now, these DPNs are a little long. I don't know how long they are. Are they 10 inches? I think these are 10 inches. I think these are 6 inches. Yeah, these are 8 inches. I think these are 9 inches. And what I like about them being a little longer is when my sock gets to what I think is the desired length, I was able to try them on without any stitches slipping off any of these DPNs, which I was pretty shocked. Because they're longer and they're able to, you're able to stretch those stitches out without them falling off the needles. Now, some people will put, when this gets a little longer, I will put a stitch marker. I actually just hook it to the sock to where the beginning round is, so that way I know. But in the beginning, you can easily see your tail, and you can see that your tail is where it starts. So I do not use, whoops, that should be a knit. I accidentally purled. So I do not use a, that's a purl. I do not use a stitch marker in the beginning because you don't need a stitch marker in the beginning because you can easily see where your tail is. But when you get higher up, you're like, is that the row? Is that the right row? So when I get higher up, I will put I usually use the ones you can open and close. I'll hook it, and then when I get a little high, like an inch higher, I'll move it up. But just so I know what stitch is my first stitch and I don't get confused. Because, sometimes you're going up and you're like, oh, is that the first one? Is that the second one? I don't know. So that's what I do. But in the beginning, here's my tail right here. I know this is the beginning. I don't need a stitch marker. You can clearly see it's right there. So I guess that's it so far. Again, you're going to knit this top for as long as you want your length. Now, mine, I said, goes right under my knee. Now, I'm a little bit over 5'9", and it ends up being 60 rows. Now, for this next one, I'm not going to keep, I hate keeping track. I will literally just go until I think it looks good, and then I will count them. And you say, oh my God, that's such a pain in the butt. It's really not that bad, because what I do, when I count my rows, you see how you have your stitch here. Each stitch has a little hole. So I just go from one hole to the next hole, and that's how I can count. And that way I don't go sideways. I literally go into the stitch. You can see the little holes, and that's how I count my rows, from hole to hole to hole. And you can actually drag it and feel the ribs, so the little things, so you know where it is. So I will do 60 rows, and after that we have to begin the heel. So in like 4 days, I will do the next video on how to do this heel right here. I like this heel. It's reinforced, it's soft and cushiony, and it's stronger because of every other stitch is a slip stitch. But we're not going to worry about the heel for now. All I want you to do is knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl 22 times so that you have 44 stitches. And again, go as long as you want. And yeah, again, you can use any DK yarn for this. Again, I didn't do a gauge, like how many stitches per inch. Like I said, I did a crochet chain around my leg, and I got 50, but that was relaxed, and I want it a little snugger. So I dropped down the 44 stitches, and it fits perfectly. So you can just try 44 stitches if you have a normal size calf. If your calf is a little wider, go up to 50 stitches. If you have little tiny calves, I would go down to maybe 36 or even 34, go down 10 more, go down to 34 stitches and see how that is. But yeah, so I guess that's all that's happening. That's our little sock tutorial. I don't want to make it too long. These things can drag on and on and on. And I do not like watching super long videos when people just babble aimlessly. So everybody have a great night. And if you have any questions, chuck it in the comments and let me know what you think. Have a great day.